Hi, Gypsy and Demona. Yes, it's you, Victor Master. Yes, Master Victor. It seems that I noticed that I mentioned Demona's name in this video. I haven't done a video in a while, so I figured I would have her involved just by saying her name. Anyway, Gypsy is the one that should be really watching this video in deep depth. Though, the reason why I say you should be watching this video in deep depth, Gypsy, is because you're the one who's gonna have to remember what I'm about to tell you. And you can have this one done as soon as you possibly could. I noticed how Nick gave you a example of he gave you a example of how you were to do one video. I always take my time when speaking, as you've always noticed that about myself. Since I always seem to think a lot faster than his brain usually would be able to comprehend if he was a full vampire, which good thing he's not. Because I'm not so sure his body will handle it. Anyway, the thing that you have to make sure you remember and you do a video of this, just because I think it's time for you to set the whole situation straight on what Nick needs to know. And also, he keeps bringing it up, and then he might have shown you that earlier. And no, I was not going to do this video until you cleaned his room enough to where it wasn't clothes all over the floor. So yes, I made sure he did that before I was willing to do this video. But sooner or later I was going to do it either way. Anyways, Gypsy, now this is what you have to know. What you have to know is that you have to make a sexual video. This is in no form, shape, or any other way like his birthday video. This is completely different. What you have to do is stay straight open about it. Speak straight open about it. He keeps bringing up his penis size. He keeps mentioning other sexual things. You have to let him know about them. However, not only do you have to let him know about them, all the different topics you could possibly talk about with sexuality in person, you'd have to let him know on camera. I'll give you a example of topics, and if you think of more, you obviously where to speak of them would be smart. Examples would be obviously how do you feel about him eating you out. You know that he obviously would be a what they use in gamer terms, newbie at it, meaning it's his first try. Or if you wish to just call it, he'd be, I guess you could say, an eating out virgin, if you wish to call it that way too. Which is an interesting way to put it. You also need to do, not just mention that, obviously mention how you feel about giving him blowjobs, obviously. How you feel about him going in your ass, and the first time he ever goes into your pussy, obviously. Those are obvious things you need to make sure you know about, let him know about. However, I am including Demona in this video for a reason. She has to do a short video on certain topics I'm mentioning too. Demona, I'll get to you shortly on what that is. But the rest that Gypsy could talk about here is pretty much, I gotta get rid of that, okay, is pretty much all those other things I just said. I add something to it. Let's see here. But how you feel about being constricted. When I say constricted, that obviously means being tied up, handcuffs, all that stuff. The kinky side of all of it. I don't know about that. Maybe him eating food off of you, maybe. What else could I think of as ideas or things to do? Just having to think about all this. May turn myself on, but nothing new there. Nothing new at all. Oh, how you feel about his rape fantasies? There's another one. How you feel about the romantic ones that you know he has, such as maybe you and him doing it in the shower, or you and him doing it on the beach, or you and him doing it in other romantic ways. What else should I mention in this video that maybe it would be a good idea to do? Mention your chest size. Mention even your virginity. Why it's so special to you that you save it for him. Even that. We're going in depth here. So that means Gypsy's side of this video will be long, but Demona's is short. Because I'll tell you shortly, Demona, what you're going to let me and Nick know. That's right, us both know. But Gypsy's only focusing on Nick. Now, Gypsy, the last thing you need to know, besides all that stuff we just mentioned, and this is going to be important to him. Obviously, I mentioned is you changing your chest size, obviously, or how you feel about it, or how you feel about your virginity, how you believe it's rightfully his, and such. Besides that, and all the rest of that stuff I mentioned, the last thing you need to know is that when it comes to your body shape, sexual attraction is also about that too. You know how he feels about it. I'll remind you just so you can't say you don't remember. You may remember he said something like, as long as you're in healthy shape, which means you might be slim or slender. Slender means you actually still have muscle to yourself, so that's the reason why that word fits better. But yes, if you are slender, where you're somewhat slim, but at the same time have muscle, like he'll probably end up being slender just like you. Ironically, how soulmate bodies are that way. Seem to copy off each other like that. Even though he's way taller than you. Yes, I do remember that. Anyways, yes, Gypsy, what you also have to mention is that that's part of the whole body thing, besides your chest and your vagina, you know, the rest of that. Your first kiss, that's technically a sexual emotion, even though it's romantic, obviously, it's also sexual. How do you feel about that with them? Get in detail. Try to mention as many different things I just mentioned, because the more you mention, the better you'll please me, and the more you'll reassure Nick on what he is wondering about, because he's going to be curious about that area all the time. And that's just the natural nature of a man, though, so don't hold that against him. Anyways, alright, so do all that stuff. Remember all that stuff I just mentioned. And maybe even if you wish to say, just so he knows what's comfortable for you. You said that his dick size obviously perfect for you. But if you wanted to get it bigger, you would allow him. Now tell him how big you'd be willing to be okay with. I'm serious, Gypsy. Tell him that too. You said 10 was freaky. Do you know that the vagina can actually stretch out to 9 inches? Did you not know that? It's true. Sometimes in the moment it can do that. I did not know that. So that means if you'd be willing to let it stretch out to 9 inches, such as a stick to go that far, let him know. Obviously 10 might be too much because of being pain. Maybe 9 would be the limit. You would say, okay, maybe that's big enough, so this way it fits my penis into your vagina. Obviously, is what he would be thinking. It's just up to you if you decide to mention that, and I highly suggest you do. The only command I will give you on this video is that you do this. Gypsy, me as your master victor, I command you to mention as many of the sexual topics, have a serious discussion with them on video, mentioning many of these sexual topics I mentioned. If you can mention them all, that means you'll please me completely and you'll have him completely reassured. But yes, mention as many of these as you can on video, no matter how long it would take you to remember them all, if you can. Yes, Demona, you're willing to help her remember, I'll allow you to. But yes, remember as many of these and make sure you answer them all for Nick. Now I'll add Demona into the conversation. It's almost 12 minutes. I'll take my time though. Demona, obviously I'm your soulmate, obviously I'm your master, obviously you see me as your everything. Now, I brought you in this conversation for a reason. You're only to mention 2 things. Maybe I changed my mind. 3. 3 is perfect for me. And yes, you're involving Nick and me for your answers, though. Just because I told you so. And obviously, you're the most obedient naturally there is. So I know you're going to listen to exactly as I tell you to. Here's what you need to know. Demona, I'm going to give you a command right now. Remember it, because it's a 2-part command. You can handle more than 1-part commands because you're just natural for it. It's usually why you can handle it. Not to mention you're smart enough to handle it. That's another reason why. Mature enough and all the rest of those other reasons why. Anyways, Demona, I command you to remember what I'm about to tell you and make sure you mention it in the video that you share with Demona and Gypsy put together, such as your video you share with Gypsy. Alright, the thing that you need to remember is this. I command you to remember to mention how you feel about... You know what? I decided I'm going to go deeper on this. It's not 3. I'm the extreme one out of the 4 of us. That's the reason why Demona's going to have to adjust to it. Demona, there's 5 things you have to remember out of sexual things we're talking about here. However, we're going to start with an extra one just to get that out of the way. Demona, what I want you to do is, this is not necessarily a command, I'm just telling you to do it without a command. This one thing right here. So wait for the command when it comes. But this is what I want you to do. Tell Nick on how you plan on taking advantage of him, raping him pretty much. Because me as your master, I'll expect you to do it a lot. And because he is turned on by it, that means you can walk all over him all you want. Meaning raping him all you want. And I don't think Gypsy's going to get in the way, because if she knows that it's something that I expect out of you, she's going to obviously respect my wishes and go with the flow. Not to mention it's her body that's going on him, so there's no reason for her to say no to it. And even if she said no, you wouldn't be able to have reason to not do it, because it's your master telling you so. But yes, you let him know on how you plan on raping him all the time. And yes, make sure you tell him it isn't going to be all the time. Every moment you get a chance to do it, you're going to attempt to do it. And the only thing that I'm going to expect out of him is that he gives you obviously no trouble at all at first, but each time you do it, he's going to give you more trouble. So this way you get better at it. Why is this? So this way, when we were to do some crazy stuff as a crime couple, we'll just say that you'd be really good at it at that point, where you'd be able to have fun with me, we'll just say. So yes, you mentioned that part of the rape, where you're going to force yourself on him all the time, and then you also have to mention my part of it. What's my part? How you plan on submitting to me all the time, and me force myself on you. Make sure you do that, Gypsy. Sorry about that, Gypsy. I meant Demona. Having about 1,000 thoughts going through my head of both of you can be mind-puzzling. Anyways, yes. That's what I told you to do, which is not a command, but it's an idea to do to make me happy. Demona. So, remember that. Mention to Nick how you plan on raping him all the different times. Sometimes just normal rape, which means you're not going to use any constraints, and other times you will use constraints. You got to get better without constraints for you to truly master it, though, which I do expect you to do over time. Just let you know that, Demona. And yes, I might be expecting a lot out of you. That's nothing new to you. And obviously, you already know to mention my side of it too. How you plan to submit to me, whether it's constraints or no constraints. Alright. Then you've got Gypsy. She has a lot to remember. Hopefully she remembers that side of her video. I gotta now get the 5 things out of the way, just so I try to make it within 20 minutes, since that's a good time to hit it at. Demona, now here's the command. I command you to remember 5 different things I'm about to tell you to make sure you mention in your video that you share with Gypsy. The 5 things are this. You make sure that you mention to me and Nick how you feel about giving blowjobs if you're truly a slut, as you try to prove to Shineri, or as you know him as the Black One. If you truly are that means you already know that you will fall in love with the idea of doing it, since that's your biggest job you'll ever have as sexually. That's the biggest job you'll ever have, is doing blowjobs, which means your mastery of it is a must. So yes, let us both know how you feel about it. Whether it's me or him, you're doing it too. You let us know how you feel about it. And the 2 other ones, which will add up to 3, how you feel about us doing your ass and us doing your pussy. You'd also mention that, Demona. Now the 4th and 5th thing, how you feel about threesomes, and how you feel about foursomes. Obviously, you'll probably, as you remember, doing them with your masters, what you'll mainly do it with. How you feel about doing those with me. Obviously, you have to match my sexuality. That's the reason why you would have to be willing to do those. And not to mention, you'll get more sexual by doing so. But you doing a threesome and foursome, you will actually get more sexual. Just remember that, Demona. So yes, those are the 5 things. Oh, and this is another one, just to make your master happy. You can mention it to us both too, if you want us both to be. You could say he'll be reassured, while I'll just be put to ease on wondering about it. The 5th thing, you already said, you already know, but the 6th thing, as in it's a bonus thing you can mention. And I suggest that you do it just so you get as much information out in the video that you do with her as you can. It's about to be 20 minutes. Here it is. The bonus 6th thing is how you feel about eating gum. you know, Nick already did research to prove that it's actually good for a female body. So, yes, since he already did find it, and he even showed Gypsy, you obviously know it's good for you. So with that said, you have to mention how often you wish to do it, if you would do it at any time I told you to, or you would force him to let you eat it when maybe you're on him, you know, you force yourself on him, or such stuff like that. You have to let us know that too, Demona. Alright, now I gave you the video like I told you I would. Hopefully you actually remember your part, and Gypsy, hopefully you remember yours. Now I'm going to say goodnight to you both from this video, and hopefully you both will make me proud and pleased, or you'll make Nick happy and proud. And obviously reassured, since he's wondering about all those different topics I just mentioned. Well, I figured I'd put his mind at rest by giving you both commands about these things. Alright, me, your master Victor, does love and adore Gypsy and Demona. Good night. Good night, my dear love slave and my dear love slave soulmate. May you both rest really well, sleep peacefully, and may you both also put me at content when I see your video to respond to this one, because I will expect it in the near future. When I say near future, I mean as soon as possible future. Remember that. So this way you can make me proud of you both. But since you both haven't made me disappointed lately, I'll give you both a kiss at the same time, known as a two-handed kiss, just because you both have earned it. The longer you don't disappoint me, the longer you'll keep me pleased, which means you might see more videos and more videos of me. I suppose you're both happy you got to see this one. Now, here's your goodnight kiss, my women. Make me proud, my love slaves, both of bliss, as you both should be.